Hey everyone, Jamie here at the Gardener Center. Today I'm here to talk to you about hydrangea, and if any of you have been following along with our weekly video series, spring through summer so far, you're gonna say, wait a second, Sean already talked to us about hydrangea, and you're right. He dropped a bunch of knowledge on us about the proper placement of hydrangea in your yard for success, a little backstory on the mophead hydrangea in general, but I am your florist. So I'm going to talk to you about cut hydrangea, and I have a great tip or two on how to prolong the vase life of your hydrangea. It works like gangbusters. And then at the end, I'm going to show you how to make a really simple, quick little hydrangea arrangement. So hang out with me for a little bit and we'll get started. Okay, so a couple weeks ago, a really good customer of ours called to chat with me for a little bit. She was frustrated because she was using some cuttings of her hydrangea from her shrubs outside, bringing them inside to use in a vase, and she said they were wilting like the day after, and she was asking if there was anything she was doing wrong or anything she could do to prolong the life of her cut hydrangea. And I've got a great tip. So this is something that I do with every single stem of cut hydrangea that comes into me to the florist. This is how we process it before it's used in any arrangements or put out on the floor in the cooler for sale. It really, really prolongs the life of your hydrangea. It's about the way it's processed. I'll even have customers come in sometimes and look at the cooler if they're picking out flowers for themselves or a gift for someone and say, oh my gosh, I love hydrangea so much, but it doesn't last. And I challenge you to purchase some of our hydrangea because of the way we process it. It lasts a long time. For instance, the mini green hydrangea that I use in the florist, I've seen it last 3 weeks in a vase outside of the cooler, and that's long for any cut flower to last. So it's really all about the way it's processed, and you can do this at home too. In fact, I cut these two hydrangea off of one of Sean's plants last week with this method, and look, they're perfect, and that's almost, I think we're going on day 6. So all you do is go outside and cut the pieces that you want to use. I'm just going to cut 2 off of Sean's plant. We'll cut 2 here, and you're cutting however many you want for the size arrangement you want to make. When you bring them inside, pull off most of the leaves. I would say leave the few that are underneath the florets because they're pretty, but they also add a little structure when you're making your arrangement. So for this one, I'm going to pull these guys off to about there and leave those guys on. So you're going to then fill up your sink or a large bucket container with cool tap water. Tap water's fine. You're going to fully submerge the heads of the hydrangea in the water. I know that seems weird and scary, but hydrangea hydrate themselves just as much through their petals and their florets as they do from their stems in the ground or in the vase. So you're going to soak these in this cool water for anywhere from like 15 to 30 minutes. Just let them do their thing in the water. In the florist, we soak them dozens of heads at a time in these big Percona buckets. And when they're done soaking, I just, pull them all up, shake all that excess water out, and I lay them on a drip tray over the sink because they're really soaking wet. So you want to let them dry as much as you can. After another, let them drip dry. After another 15 or 20 minutes or so, you do want to get the stems in water. So another important tip with that, you can use a really sharp knife. Make sure it's clean. You can use rubbing alcohol always to clean your knives. And you want to, if you want to pull at a really sharp angle, and if you can see that white fleshy material in the inside of the stem, that's what you want to see. That allows more surface area for the stem to soak up water. If you're not comfortable with a knife, that's fine. Clippers are fine too. Just really cut it at a really sharp angle like that so you see that white fleshy part in there, and then get the stems in water as the hydrangea are drying off. If you're wanting an arrangement for later in the day, you want to do this in the morning because it's easier to work with the hydrangea after they've fully dried. And that is that's gonna keep your hydrangea lasting long for several days in a vase. Another tip too, do it again. If they start to look soft on you after a little bit, after a few days, and they're looking a little peaked, pull them out of the vase and do the same process again, and I swear you'll get another 2 days, maybe 3 out of them. Again, they'll plump back up. Okay, so those are the tips to keep your hydrangea lasting long. Next, I'm gonna show you how to make a really quick, simple arrangement with your cut hydrangea from your yard. Okay guys, so now I'm gonna show you how you can make a really simple little arrangement for inside the house. I'm giving away all my secrets here, I guess, but it's so simple and easy, anybody can do this. So what I've done to prep my vase, I think probably everyone, you've gotten flowers before, so you have one of these in your pantry to use. Any sort of low, yeah, it could be a tall vase or whatever, but I like the low compact look. Any cylinder or cube vase. Again, using things from your yard, I lined first the inside of this vase with some hosta leaves. A lot of you have hosta. If you don't have hosta, a lot of you have seagrasses. So you just, cut off a bunch of the seagrass and wind it inside the vase. That's just a nice extra touch. And then I gridded the top of the vase. This is Florist clear tape, but you can literally use Scotch tape, it's fine. I did 3 across, 3 crisscross around that, and then tape around the outside just to secure it down. And that is your mechanics. It holds everything together. Great tip. So I've got some hydrangea that I've used. This is from the florist department, but I'm gonna use these guys too that I cut from Sean's outside, his Endless Summers. So really you can kind of eyeball it, but give it a quick cut. Make sure you're doing that sharp angle and slip it in here. You can use any color combination you like. All one color is pretty too. I'm cutting again at a sharp angle, and the tape allows it holds it up for you, We'll use some of this blue here. This guy in here. I kind of like to make sure the lip or the edge of the vase is covered first and then fill in through the top. Another blue. And then I've got some of this mini green. And mini green hydrangea is just white hydrangea that they've cut prematurely. This would turn into a big fluffy white piece of hydrangea if they hadn't cut it when they did. I'll maybe put 2 more in here. Flip it around. Just see where it needs an empty spot to be filled in. And there you go. Nice fluffy little hydrangea arrangement. Perfect for dining room table, or if you have a guest over, bedside table. You can make them as big or as little as you'd like. But how quick was that? It was super simple. Thanks for watching, you guys, and we'll see you next week.